All right, good Saturday morning to you. It's been a while since we've done anything on Project Snowman, and I thought, you know, we better show her a little bit of love. I do want to get the Peterbilt finished before I really dive into this project, but I thought, you know, especially I got some excavating going on here. I kind of need it moved out of this spot. We're going to do a little bit of minor maintenance to it to get it to be able to run and drive and move it around, and we'll maybe do some cleaning on the interior and show her a little bit of love. For those that don't know, Project Snowman is going to be a tribute truck to the one that was used in the Smokey and the Bandit movie in the late 70s. If you haven't seen that movie yet, what are you doing? It's on Netflix now. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You'll thank me later, and you'll see exactly what the whole story is behind Project Snowman and what we plan to do to this truck. So we'll go ahead and get started and do a little bit of work and see where we get. And I've got to make a trip to the dump. Just got too much junk here. Do a little spring cleaning, but I'm a big fan of recycling old parts, and I needed this air tank to move the Kenworth. This is the old tank that I got off the that I took off the peat when I put those aluminum tanks on, and there we go. One-handed, because there's a leak on Project Snowman. It was rubbing and it actually wore through, so now I can't even air it up to move it. So we'll just temporarily put this tank in there so at least we can move it around the yard. And then yeah, got lots of other stuff here. There's the hood that I got. A guy was parting out a Kenworth same year, and it's got the lower notch for the regular air cleaners that match the one in the movie. So we'll put that on the truck, and then to get rid of the steel wheels, when he was parting out that Kenworth, I also got a set of aluminum buds, so we can get these polished up. Obviously going to need some new skins, but those will look good on the truck, and will match the one in the movie. I also got to get this headache rack off of here. So you'll know from previous episodes, I'm not a fan of this, and obviously it didn't match the movie, so I was just going to pull it off and send it to scrap. But someone reached out to me on the old interwebs there from Saskatchewan and said he would be interested in it for his truck. So he made me an offer, so we'll go ahead and get this thing taken off of there, and then wait for him to come pick it up. Here, let's see if we can get that air tank out of there. The previous owner also said that the tranny seal was leaking, so he said make sure you check the transmission for oil before you start driving it around. Little hole in the exhaust here. We'll just put a band clamp over that for now. Okay, so here's the air tank. I threw some Kroll oil on the joints to try and loosen them up. The challenge is going to be there's 4. Now these tanks aren't compartmentalized; they're just an air tank. So there's only 3 on the Peterbilt tank, so I'm going to have to do a T for 2 of these lines. But yeah, I think we'll be able to get it off of here. So the previous owner to the guy that I bought it off of in the email said that because the Cummins smoked so much that they would fill this up on shop air, so it'd be all aired up so they could release the brakes and get it out of their shop without smoking themselves out. I like that high-tech rope hanger there. We'll probably upgrade that. But other than the rust, she's not too bad down here. An old antique air dryer. Don't even have an air dryer on the Pete. We'll probably get that replaced. And yeah, the brake chambers will have to get done. We'll go through the brakes, the seals, the diffs. We'll check the oil on that. And then yeah, up here in the old Eaton 13 speed, it wasn't leaking out of the pinion joints, but it was leaking out of the cover plates here. So we'll just check it to make sure that she's got some oil in it, just so I can move it around the yard. But yeah, we'll throw this thing in the tripod, and we'll get going on this air tank. See how many knuckles I can wrap getting this thing out of here. There, I hope that time lapse gives you a sense of how much time it takes oops, sorry about that, that was kind of loud, to work on these old trucks. So everything is either seized or rusty, and when you're laying underneath it, I forgot how much fun it was getting a face full of old rust. At least that truck, when I crawl underneath, it's not too bad now. But oh boy, she's gonna be a lot of work, but I do enjoy working on new projects. So okay, so let's get this swapped over. As I said, whoops, a little bit of dirt in there, that won't matter, we'll just clean that off. So at least I got this tee, but the old 3 taps are already used, so I'm gonna have to try and use some of the fittings I have and double it up. Now, hope there's enough slack in the hoses to get these 3 close ones together. There should be. We'll make it work one way or another. But yeah, there was a hole in this tank. It was just rubbing on the frame rail there and wore a hole. So the previous owner, at least to air it up so he could put it on the trailer and haul it here, he just did this temporary fix with some conveyor belt and some hose clamps, but it was just leaking too bad. I couldn't air it up to even move it around the yard here. So okay, let's see what fittings we got, and we'll flip these over and get this thing mounted on the truck. You never have enough fittings. If you're going to rebuild one of these trucks and you go to an auto wrecker, or you can get a whole big bin of air fittings, it's probably a good idea because you're going to need them. There's just lots of stuff that you need to adapt to. That's what I was looking for. Well, no, that isn't what I'm looking for. Okay, well, I wonder. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way with what I got here, so I'll keep playing with it. I wasn't able to get the tee. I didn't have the right fittings, but then I realized there's a tap at the front of the tank, so that's where my 4th one came into. And so then I just transferred everything over. I connected the lines, tightened them up, and I got this DOT approved ratchet strap to hold it in place. So I think that'll be good. Again, don't worry, this is just temporary, just so I can move it around the yard. So all you keyword cowboys can stop with the comments on that one. Okay, so now I'm gonna just check the oil in the transmission, and then we'll fire this thing up and move it around a little. Temperature sensor's broken off this one too. That's something I still need to do on the Peterbilt, is all the sensors on the diffs and the transmissions have all been busted off through the years. So I gotta run new wires. So it's just this is the fill port. You should be able to just put your finger in, and it's also for the oil level. It should just start pouring out. So I'll get out of the way just in case there is oil in there. Oh, yep. Okay. Transmission's full. It's dirty oil. It's going to need to be replaced. But okay, so the leak that he must have been talking about, he said there was a big pool of oil when he moved it after it was sitting for 4 years. So I'm guessing, because this guy's pretty wet here, so maybe it was power steering oil. It leaked all over, so the power steering's probably low. But the transmission has juice in it. Okay, so we're good to move this thing around. Okay, we'll do a little checking on the fluids in the inside, because this thing hasn't really been started since full-on winter. Oh yeah, I got that coolant line leak. I guess I should cut that off of there and redo that. Oh, it looks like she's leaking a little here in the exhaust too. Blowing a little bit of oil. Yeah, she looks good. Just above the high mark. I bought some nice 1540 from UFA there, so we'll get an oil filter and give her an oil change. Now, is this, come to think of it, does this guy predate the spin-on filters? There's a fuel filter. I wonder if that's it. So that's power steering, which is probably low, given the fact that leak we saw earlier. Oh no, halfway. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. Yeah, so it doesn't have a spin-on oil filter. I wonder if this is the old school canister one. That's probably what it is. Got those lines going to and from. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. I guess I'll have to take that apart to get a part number on there. But other than that, she looks pretty solid. Oh yeah, we should check the coolant while we're at it. Oh yeah, she looks good. Okay, probably good enough to start. We're not going on any long joyride. Definitely in much cleaner condition than what I found the Pete in. What's interesting as well is there's no fan clutch on this thing. It's just a solid drive, so whenever the motor's running, it's turning. Whereas on the Pete, it's got a air-driven clutch on it. So when it gets to a certain temperature, she'll kick on, whereas this guy's always spinning. And that's why when I start up Old Blue, sometimes you don't see the fan turning, because it's obviously just cold. Okay, I think we're just about ready to fire this old girl up. Okay, let's see if she holds air now. Oh yeah, loyal. Hasn't been started in like 2 months and just fired right up. Okay, let's see if it's still leaking air. No, I don't hear it hissing. And we sort of patched the exhaust leak, but again, good enough just to run around the yard. All right, we'll let her air up and then we take it for a little rip down the driveway. Okay, she's not hissing at all from my clear tank I put in here, but then I look, I see grass moving, and sure enough, there's a pinhole in this one. So now this one needs to be swapped out as well. Oh man. I went to my dump pile and found the other one. So let's do the exact same thing all over again. I finally swapped out the second tank. It's probably a good thing I did. When I went to actually wrench this guy out of here, this whole thing crumpled in. So this is very thin material. I think it was this guy here. But yeah, this is just rusted and rotten. So, okay, we got 2 sort of new tanks in there. And let's see if she holds air. Okay. Oh. Nice. Well, she's a long way from looking like the Kenworth used in the movie, but she'll get there. Okay, we'll wait and see if we build some air, and then we'll back it into the shop. Oh, she's building. That's a good sign. Must have done something right. Still can move around. Oh. Wait for the brakes to release. Oh boy, that ain't good. Okay, for those of you that were curious, yellow wouldn't seem to release my brakes, so I don't know if something's wrong with the relays. Yeah, see, she's still locked. But when I was just mucking around, I hit the blue one, which is just supposed to release the trailer brakes. Well, at least we got her figured for now. There's obviously something buggered, but we got her moving without having to cage the brakes, so I'm happy. That whole brake system's got to be going over. Let's see if we can grab a gear in this old girl. this thing through the drive-thru, no problem. I don't know about that peak though, that steering's pretty stiff. Nice to drive this truck. Not like sitting on a lowboy like Jerry Reed was doing. Alright, let's get this thing in the shop and we'll use the forklift, take off that old headache rack. Yeah, this thing was just a buzzing, so I'll be happy to take that off. You can hear the leak here. It's right underneath, so I think this relay is seized. But good trick on the blue valve for releasing the brakes. Boy, that's a minty old wrench. I wonder what that was used for. Okay, so there's the water pump that the previous owner, Steve, was nice enough to swap out because it was leaking before he sold it to me. And then I'll have to take that off for the trailer lines, and then take this out and release the electrical. And then there's a couple U-bolts that are holding it to the frame, and then this guy should just lift right off. Trojan, good company. Just doing some eyeballing here, and we got about 5 feet of truck sticking out. And I'm just looking back there, and I'm thinking this truck might fit in. Fast forward to the winter. But if I took this post out, of course I got my daughter's heights all through the years, and just ran a beam over, I could back the truck right under here and take that last 5 feet, and this truck would actually fit in the garage, which would be just perfect because then I wouldn't have to move it, and I'd be on a concrete floor. I can close the door. Maybe I could even insulate and heat this shop this winter, and I could kind of work away and strip this truck down. So if you're gonna do a restoration like this, that's the key, is you gotta take it right down to almost nothing. I'll probably end up leaving the sleeper on. There's no reason to take it off. I'm not swapping it, but everything else comes off. The exhaust, the fuel tanks, the wheels, the drums, the brakes. It needs new wheel seals and brakes, and I gotta check the bearings. It'll need new brake pots. I'll have to get, same as last time, probably, I don't know, 300 feet of 3/8 line and just start swapping out the air lines front to back, get 100 fittings and just go to town. I'll probably need a bunch of electrical work. The wiring's probably all rotten. It'll need tail lights. And yeah, just clean it up. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with the frame, if I'm gonna wire wheel it like Bubbles did, or there's an air chisel or an air, I think it's called an air, not an air chisel. It's like this air thing that just kind of bangs away with these metal fingers and takes the old paint off. I mean, that would be slow, but it would be a lot safer. I know sandblasting is fast and it works well, but I'm not a big fan of silica dust, so I don't want to mess around with that anymore. So we'll find a way to clean the frame once we strip it all down and have it on jack stands. We'll prime and paint it. We'll use maybe some higher end paint this time because I'm not painting out in the dirt. And then, yeah, we'll build it back up. And then the last thing will be the interior, and then the paint, and then the chrome. All right, enough talking. Let's get this headache rock off of here. Oh, you gotta love old rusty trucks. A lot of these, as to be expected. Just old, and and rusty, but when they break, they come off all that much easier. Okay, so now on to this. As I mentioned, there's, there you go, giant U-bolts that just basically hold it, squeeze it to the frame. So I'll try and impact those off, and then we'll get the air lines and the electrical off, and we should be able to lift this up. Some people might ask, why'd you cut them? Why don't you just unbolt them? And believe me, I tried. My impacts just barked. And I had a 4-foot breaker bar on there and I still couldn't budge them. So I guess 40 years of rust and salt, Alberta road grime, heading to the rodeo, seized them right up. So I just cut them off. U-bolts are easy to get. Okay, so now, I don't know if I can slide this thing. Oh yeah, thank God. Okay, I'll try and slide it back a little closer to my forklift because I don't want to come too close to the truck, and then we can pick it and pull it off of there. So I'm sure people that know how to rig properly probably could come up with 20 things wrong with this, but it's off. And again, it was too heavy for me to lift, but it wasn't that heavy that I couldn't move it around. So I just figured I kind of had to make it up as I went along. The chain falls helped to kind of hold it steady. So now I can roll the truck out of here and bring my trailer in and then set it down on the trailer. But check out this paint. It shows that sun just wrecks everything. Look at that. So it's even got the metallic flake in it. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. It's the nicest part on the truck now. Okay, let's get this thing out of here. Well, there you go. Got some work done on Project Snowman. Moved it a little farther forward. And man, it looks good without that headache rack. It's even starting to look like the truck in the movie. Probably next episode we'll get back to the Peterbilt, but I figured we'd do a little bit of work on Project Snowman, and I'm glad we did. Got a long way to go, but we'll get there.